Welcome back to episode 110 of the Block Runner Podcast. I'm your host, William, always here with your co-host, I-Man.
What up, what up?
All right, dude. Thank you for being here, dude.
Yep.
All right, man. Look at this Bitcoin chart.
All our meme lines and the blue squares. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, okay. So these blue squares represent 19 days. So I just arbitrarily set these blue squares from the top to the bottom. So that was 19 days. So I figured, what if we spend 19 days after this peak? What would that look like? So from the top to the bottom, it's only been 7 days. And right now, after roughly 19 days, it's going to break through this box.
Potentially. Most likely, though. It's starting to look like it. So, yeah, man. This just keeps feeding into the whole sentiment of, like, Bitcoin's in a super cycle, I guess, just because this is definitely not what I was expecting.
Well,
if we just power through this and then, you know, who knows how high Bitcoin's in price discovery mode once again. Like, we could see 80, 70, 90K potentially.
I don't think the super cycle is confirmed until we get past, like, I don't know, 120K or something like that.
Yeah,
because, like, the original prediction was 100K, right?
That was your original prediction.
Well, most people's predictions is at 100K.
I don't know.
There's a lot of evidence to suggest 100K is, like, pretty easy to get there.
Okay.
Like, since the beginning, like, since we were looking at it at 3,000, people were predicting 100K in the next cycle. But to satisfy a super cycle, we need to go well beyond the 100K prediction, like well beyond.
Yeah.
And so we've talked about this before. There's a stock-to-flow cross-asset model. Mm-hmm. And in that cross-asset model, we have a prediction of 288,000 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So who knows if we'll actually get there. I mean, I can show you from this guy, 100 Trillion or Plan B's account on Twitter, that he's got a lot of charts to indicate that there's a lot of evidence to support a $288,000 Bitcoin.
Oh, grats to Ebriel, dude, if you're watching this. I just saw your tweet.
Oh, yeah.
That you won the Atari competition for Decentraland, dude. Congrats, brah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's like 5K?
I don't know. Something like that, but yeah, we're definitely going to test out your game here soon. We've just been swamped.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you too, Pablo. Second place, I think, right?
Yeah, Pablo got second place.
Shout out to both of these OG Decentralanders.
So, okay, so we're looking at Bitcoin here from the previous cycle from 2012 to 2016, and then the blue, which is the 2017 $20,000 price. Mm-hmm. And then here's us in red. And so the prediction to 100K seems like more than likely.
Yeah. So
this green line represents a stock-to-flow model, which is predicting at 100K Bitcoin, according to that model. Here's stock-to-flow X. That's $288,000 Bitcoin.
That green line right there?
Thick green line.
Oh, shit.
And so from there, I guess if it reaches 288,000, which again has a lot of evidence and to actually get there, I think that's when we're confirmed super cycle.
Okay. Well, I mean, definitely bullish looking.
Yeah.
Market. I mean, we've been saying this. Yeah, there's going to be ups and downs and corrections along the way, but yeah, definitely all we have is to do is like follow this moon math. At the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, just touching base with Bitcoin. It's always good to see like where everything's going, and it looks like the dip is done. As soon as this breaks through 58,000, this dip is over. Now we're going to potentially 70K.
Yeah, and I guess it puts a pause on the altcoin season for a little bit. We have to again just sit back and wait and see what Bitcoin does. Typical Bitcoin, dude, just totally ruining the party for us altcoin. Freaking moon boys, but. Regardless, like I said, if Bitcoin has another leg up, that means altcoins will too, And so, yeah, I guess if Bitcoin breaks through, it puts an end to my little narrative of like March is a bloody month. Like so far,
that's true, man.
Not bloody at all.
Not true.
Trend is broken, dude. If you play Baccarat, that shit happens all the time. Like, trends break in Baccarat. Yeah. They break in crypto land too, so... But when you're making a bet in Baccarat, you got to go off the trends, dude. And this is what we do. We've watched the trends for the last 10 years, right? And that's like our best indicator of what's going to happen in the future. But not this time.
Yeah.
This time it's a little different because there's just so many different macro factors now that totally changed the game.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about the macro factors a lot simply because it's a good indicators to, the sentiment of the
Crypto and
collective.
Bitcoin?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
dude.
collective on crypto.
Yeah, speaking of that, you've collected a lot of like good news sources, right? Like of
Yeah,
there's like some
Look at this.
good happenings, right? Once again, proving me wrong a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, Nick by Nick.
Yeah.
News article by news article. It's like
Yeah.
it's crushing my FUD.
So to talk about what you're saying is there's this article that came out 2 hours ago. It says Rep. Warren Davidson reintroduces Token Taxonomy Act. So what the hell is this? So if passed, the act would amend the Securities Act and Securities Exchange Act to exclude digital tokens from the definition of a security.
Okay.
So this goes back to kind of the idea of, you were saying that there's a huge incentive for the United States government to go and crack down on cryptocurrencies.
Mm.
And that incentive is because they hold the world's reserve currency, the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
And so my argument was, well, even though they hold the world's superpower right now, basically controlling the wealth, the money creation,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that they're intelligent enough to know that cryptocurrency is here to stay because the genie's out of the bottle. You can't really put them back in.
Mm-hmm.
And my sentiment is I feel like that they're going to figure out ways to encourage creation of, crypto businesses within the United States with favorable, like, governance, like favorable, like tax implications.
Yeah.
And so this is this is like the first indication that that's, potentially true. It says, this guy is saying, if we don't act quickly, the United States will be left behind. Other countries have found ways to regulate blockchain projects and, in doing so, have made themselves more attractive to entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Facts.
So, if we were think about it from a different perspective, if the United States had bad regulatory aspects in terms of creating businesses here, you wouldn't see Elon Musk in the United States. You wouldn't see a lot of Google and Apple and Facebook be created in the United States because it wasn't favorable. But because it was, they're here.
Yeah.
And I feel like if the United States doesn't act now and make it favorable to be in the United States to create these businesses, they're going to be, they will not recover from this. That's how bad it's going to be.
Yeah, there's something there's something more valuable in this world than capital, like money. It's like intellectual capital, I guess.
Oh, for sure.
Identify that as, because that's the true driver of innovation. Yeah, money's the fuel, but the actual catalyst to innovation is
the intellect, the intelligence,
the intellectual pool that resides within your your governing body. So yeah, up until now, the United States has really enjoyed that leveraging power. Again, like what we talked about on the last podcast, the big leveraging power the United States has to lose with the evolution of blockchain and crypto is their financial grip hold on the rest of the world,
That's right.
And we've had, again, more advantages than one. We have the intellectual grip hold, meaning like, usually like top intellectuals from around the world gravitate towards the United States as like that incubation hub for their work, just because of the favorable conditions. The culture is more innovative, I guess. There's certain hubs like Silicon Valley, like they literally foster the growth of everything that we see in tech these days. So, but that was to the United States advantage again, to like really support that and like, give these startup companies maybe tax breaks. I really don't know what's so cool about this country. I don't know if it's like a tax thing or what, but for sure it's a cultural thing. Like most of the innovation comes out of like these hubs.
Yeah.
So if the United States has like a decision to make, okay, at the sacrifice of our financial leverage on like the global stage, like, do we chip away at that for the sake of like maintaining our intellectual, leverage? That way we see this new innovation like boom happening in the crypto and blockchain space. Like, what do we do?
Yeah.
Like that's one hell of a conflicting argument to have as a government,
Yeah, they have such a huge decision to make here, because that means that if they start accepting like this favorable like ecosystem for entrepreneurs and cryptocurrencies, they know the end is near, right? They know it.
Yeah, basically.
And I mean, ultimately, there's still going to be some countries that remain powerful. Like if you have a country like the United States that's favorable to cryptocurrencies and everybody comes to the U.S. to make crypto projects, that's going to be good for the country, regardless of whether or not, the dollar is like ceases to exist.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think there's a lot of smart people out there. I mean, there's a lot of dumb people too, but I would imagine that there's enough smart people in the government to be like sounding the alarms and saying, we got to do something about this. Yep. Something good.
But you know what? Like largely, this is only their problem. Like from the rest of our perspectives, like it's fine. Like it doesn't really matter where like these blockchain projects are incubated out of. That's kind of like the whole point. Like it is a global effort and like a global movement. The whole point is to distribute like all this intellectual, this grip hold that these centralized bodies have. As much as it kind of hurts to say, strikes deep in my patriotic heart and all this stuff. I mean, it just is what it is, man. Like this is kind of like what the industry's trying to tackle. Because it's not fair if you've been on the outside looking in this whole time,
Yeah, for sure.
Like, what would happen to Elon if we made it difficult for him just to come join the party? Like, fuck, no, Elon, you can't come. Fuck off, mate. Like, we have all the intellectual capacity we need, to like really thrive. We don't need any more.
Yeah, and I mean, again, we've mentioned this before that if cryptocurrencies start permeating through, the 7.5 billion people there are on the planet, the 2 to 3 billion of which are unbanked for the most part or underbanked, we have 2 to 3 billion new participants in the economy. That is good for every single country. So, allowing those favorable regulatory aspects in the United States, I mean, that's tax revenues are going to go up, not down.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think this is really great news. It's just
great news. Yeah, but keep in perspective though. This is only like a proposal, right? Like a bill that hasn't even been been through the ringer yet.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
there's still, I mean, people have seen this, right?
Yeah.
And the strong support for the bipartisan legislation from the U.S. businesses and stakeholders is a clear indication that our friendly, light regulatory proposal will propel the United States to be the forefront of the industry. So we have businesses, U.S. businesses, who are saying, yes, this proposal is good. And these projects, these businesses would know more than pretty much most people in the government, right? So...
yeah, I mean, we're seeing it in the space today. Like, I mean, there's strong reason if you're like a big brand business or something, and operating from the United States, to be bullish on cryptocurrencies and blockchain as a whole, because we're starting to witness the emergence of like actual commercialization of it all. With the Top Shots and with other things we're seeing emerge. There's some proof of concept as far as like, can we produce some marketable products, for the mainstream, for their general consumer base, and yes, we can, so that's powerful. That's something that these big businesses want to leverage, so of course they want like favorable regulatory, environment so that we could build more of this stuff, so we could keep milking our own people essentially,
Yeah.
If people want to buy this stuff, then these big businesses want to supply it. It's that simple. So yeah, all of a sudden, there's just probably this big initiative to like, no, yeah, let's foster this growth.
Yeah.
Like, ignore the fucking whole like erosion of the foundational finance pillar.
Yeah.
Ignore that aspect. We're interested in the we could sell people NFT shirts now. We could sell people NFT socks and make millions. Like,
yeah, it's just a whole new market.
It's a whole new market we're tapping into. Yeah. And it's like didn't exist before, so let's foster this thing.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, all I'm saying is, of course, businesses are behind it, but
so how does your sentiment change on all this though?
Me?
Yeah,
I don't think it's changed at all.
Really?
Yeah.
You're still like bearish on.
I still
on
think
all this?
because like, okay, something good is happening on the state level, because I know how government works, dude. Like, just because something good is happening in one state. Not even like one representative of that state is like proposing something logical, does not indicate like at the federal level this is all of a sudden like
No,
the big aha moment where they're just going to be like, we're in.
No, I don't think that's what's happening here. I think this is just evidence that there's not just dumb people in the government.
Okay, that I agree with.
Right.
But again, remember, you have to convince the majority in order for things to pass.
Yeah, but dude, this is important for the majority to understand in the government. Like this is like
just like climate change has been important for them to understand. And do they? Not really. It's a struggle to get those things understood.
But I think climate change has a different angle to the effect that these people understand the huge implications of cryptocurrencies. I think climate change is like for the good of like humanity, but cryptocurrencies is who's going to remain the superpower in the world. Those are the two different like aspects to the different ideologies. So in other words, I'm thinking the resistance to climate change, like regulation, is not the same to the resistance of what potentially cryptocurrencies in terms of regulation is going to be. Mm-hmm. I think there's going to be a much, much faster understanding of the cryptocurrency space than there is about climate change. Just because this directly affects their bottom dollar in a way that climate change doesn't.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like I think climate change obviously is probably one of the more significantly important things that we need to tackle. Mm-hmm. But cryptocurrencies has our financial foundation like at stake.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the climate debate has like a lot of financial implications too, though. Like
it does, but not. So if the foundation is built on the U.S. dollar, cryptocurrencies is like touching that foundation.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Yeah.
So and not only touching the foundation, like completely eroding that foundation, like completely.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's what it's like. I think there won't be the same level of resistance to cryptocurrencies that we saw with.
But dude, listen to what you just said. Now, you just agreed with me about like the impactfulness of the crypto debate, and so for sure this is going to become a political issue. There's going to be,
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't feel like there is going to be a political issue. I really don't.
Everything is a political issue, dude. Everything.
But this. There's
never been a time in history where like something is introduced to the zeitgeist of a government and then it's just fully embraced.
Dude.
It's never
this
happened.
Is different. Here's why. Because if they don't embrace this, they are not going to be a superpower. It's that simple.
Could be, yeah.
That's why like I think there's going to be a significantly much faster understanding of cryptocurrencies in the sense that there's going to be a lot less resistance to crypto than there was.
I agree with I agree in the sense you're right.
There's an urgency to it.
Yeah, there's a much more obvious urgency because you're right. It is tapping on like everyone's wallets.
Yeah.
So the whole climate debate it's so you have to understand science in order to really give a fuck about it. There's like an actual like it's something not tangible like in the now. You know what I mean? It's going to be tangible in the future whenever everything's just so much more like inconvenienced by like the outcome of it. But it's hard to convince somebody of that. But yeah, if they start to notice the financial rattling because of all this stuff. Or maybe just even like the business rattling, the commercial, whatever fallout comes of this, like new innovation.
Yeah.
For sure. It's going to make things a lot more urgent. They're going to have to figure it out, So I agree with you. You're right. But we'll we
I guess
we'll see. Maybe I don't have the reason to be so freaking like fear mongering.
I don't know. I think I don't want to be just optimistic because that's what it's. Optimism and hopium are like on a fine line, right? The difference between optimism and hopium. I think this is not so much optimistic than it is like smart. I think if the government is to a certain extent smart, they will act fast and favorable to crypto. I think that's the case.
Okay.
So
we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. But like I said, like this, what this indicates to me is like we're a long way from like knowing the outcome of that. Just because like this very reminiscent of like the whole marijuana thing, where like, okay, one state, it becomes all of a sudden favorable to it, and then maybe it'll take a few months for another state to hop on board, and then before you know it, 10 years has passed, and then we have a majority of consensus like, okay, this is good stuff. We want to support the growth of this industry, and then the federal government like starts to ponder the idea. It's like, okay,
yeah,
I guess we like it too.
yeah. I just don't think it's on the same time.
But yeah, you're right.
Time span.
That's definitely outside of the same spectrum of urgency. Like there's marijuana legislation definitely doesn't have the same
like implications of like affecting the dollar.
Just everything.
Yeah.
Like literally everything. Like just business in general. Like anything that people have organized in the past, totally different. Totally changed.
I wonder what was the resistance behind marijuana? Like, who was making the money keeping it illegal? Like, what? Like, if you make things legal, you can tax it. And if you tax it, you make more money as a government. Like, why would you keep marijuana illegal for so long? It's just like a belief system, or what was it?
It's the same argument. Like, why does the government think they have the like part of their responsibility of governing their population is like making sure we don't fuck ourselves like financially in the stock market? Why do they have to heavily regulate that? Why can't we just freely participate the way we freely participate in crypto?
Yeah.
And if we get rugged, we get rugged. Fuck it, right? Like we deal with it. That's life.
Yeah.
You know, because the reason we're getting rugged every single day is because there's no regulations in place. You know, there's no governing body, you know, really overseeing the deployment of these assets and stuff like that. You know. It's just a free ecosystem. It's totally free market, you know, dynamic. And if you're libertarian, like this is it. This is your libertarian wet dream right now. The crypto space. Yeah. Like, you know, and a lot of these founders they do think like that. So this is the downside of that though. There's going to be a lot of like, it's a freaking playground for snake oil salesmen and just like fraudulent activity, you know. There's definitely it's going to be part of it. So
yeah.
As a community, we're going to have to figure out how to combat against that. And we are, but...
So do you think...
But it's the same, but what I'm saying is, like, the government feels responsible to protect us from that type of, you know, that type of inevitability with drugs and, you know... contraband and stuff.
So do you think the government should... Or do you think society would operate better in, like, a completely open free market where anything goes? Or does there needs to be, like, a level of, like... filters, like you have to go through some sort of checks and balances in order to...
I think so. I think these are like issues that like previous generations have like dealt with, and they learned the hard way, you know, like you can't just have anything goes societies, because like humans are just not capable of that.
Yeah.
Like our brains are just not wired for anything goes.
You know what?
We need structure. We need all that stuff.
That's true. I mean, I think technology has advanced so fast that it's hard for our brains to get adjusted to it.
For sure.
That's why we're so addicted to like social media.
Yeah, that's why we're all like freaking super sad, you know, like everyone's sad all the time. Everyone's depressed, you know, because it's totally unnatural. Like the environment we created for ourselves, totally out of the norm. Like what our biological selves are supposed to like exist in, you know?
It's pretty interesting that we're able to create all this stuff and like get ahead of ourselves in terms of like comprehending what we're actually doing to ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, but we still do it though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
We know we're like ultimately like we're killing our freaking our spirit.
Yeah.
For the sake of like, you know, I don't know, the progress of this thing, this thing that comes after us, you know, everyone likes to postulate.
Yeah.
The next thing is going to be the artificial version of us,
right.
You know. So maybe they're right. This is just like there's some kind of like universal force at play here that's just like we're just like a stepping stone for whatever the fuck comes after us, you know.
Dude, that's such a good point.
Yeah, like they're not going to be hampered by this biological baggage that we have to deal with, you know. The reason why we can't self-organize and coexist without like just killing each other is because of our biology. But as soon as we get rid of that, all of a sudden like efficiency is like 1,000 million x, you know what I mean? Then we could start becoming an intergalactic thing, you know.
Which plays into the part of Elon Musk creating Neuralink, right?
Yeah.
If we integrate with AI, there's less of a chance that it has, or less of a reason for it to consider destroying us. If we're integrated with it,
Yeah, because if you're giving AI like the potential to actually like, think in that capacity and like make decisions independent of like what we programmed it to do.
Yeah.
Like you wanted to think of us as like not that biological baggage. You know? Pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Because they're gonna come to that conclusion. If we already recognize like that's a huge problem, as ourselves, you know, this thing is going to be programmed to only want to just accelerate what we're doing right now, like just progressing and like advancing technology.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're gonna know like, fuck. It's like, you know what? These things suck.
Yeah.
It's like we should actually fucking get rid of all of them, and then you know what? We own.
Yeah.
It's like that is like that's an evolutionary thing. Like we don't have the
capacity,
the favorable like evolutionary traits. Yeah, for the future of whatever the hell it is that's happening. You know.
Yeah, that's true.
It's scary, dude. So yeah, Elon, he thinks on that level all the time. So he's like, yo, WTF.
We need to do something now.
Yeah. He's like, again, he's telling like governing bodies again, like of this impending issue and it's largely being ignored and looked over just because it's not something you can understand, you know?
Yeah, it is tough. It is tough to think that we can create something that can outthink us, and then not only outthink us, like actually do something about like what it's learned. And if it's learned that humans are actually destroying the planet, which is essential to everything that exists right now, then it makes sense to like get rid of us completely.
True.
And I mean, who knows? Like that logic may be true, but I feel like the AI would be able to comprehend that we're able to change our minds like on a collective basis. The Zeitgeist.
Yeah, but it takes too long. It's too inefficient.
Yeah, but also
it's not optimal.
It takes long to destroy the planet too. Like it's been 100 years of like the Industrial Revolution, and now we're starting to feel the effects of it. Right? Yeah. Texas was just frozen over for like a week, and then 2 days later it was back to 70 degrees. Right? So I don't think that's happened to Texas before.
No.
Where for a solid week it was frozen.
Not in our lifetimes.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not.
Maybe at some point, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
But we're lucky to see that way more often these days, like in the next decade, than we ever have in the last 100 years. So there's something that's pushing that in that direction. There's something, right? And that something is humans. And I don't know. I just feel like if the AI, it goes back to like the whole government being a lot smarter than we think they are. AI, if it is as smart as we think it can be, it would comprehend that humans can change, can adapt to a different lifestyle, a lifestyle that supports life instead of destroys it, like we're doing now.
Yeah,
and I think there's going to be less obviousness to the AI that the answer isn't just to get rid of all humans, right? That the logic would lead that killing all humans is probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we're saying AI is as smart as it is, it has to be that smart then.
You would think. You would hope. You really would hope.
Yeah,
you know?
I think.
I mean, we definitely won't be able to comprehend the level of thinking of like an advanced AI.
That's right.
For sure. That's something we can't even postulate, and I think that's the risk.
Yeah.
That Elon brings up. We just can't even like fathom what that level of thinking would look like. You know.
Yeah. So here's a picture.
And what that can result in.
Here's a picture of exponential growth of computing, right? This is only up to 2000, but we're in 2020. And so technically we should be at a single mouse's brain in terms of computational or calculations per second per $1,000. So we're still about a mouse compared to our collective engineering has led to about a mouse's capacity in terms of computational per $1,000. So by 2075, we're going to surpass all human brains in terms of computational computing per $1,000 in about 50 years.
Googly moogly. So what comes from that?
So what does that mean?
Yeah,
that means that we would have the human's collective capacity to think in our cell phones. That's what that means.
Like the whole collective.
Yeah, the whole every
It wouldn't
computational.
probably won't even be a cell phone, right?
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
it
50
might
years from
not
now?
be a cell phone. You're right. It could be just like an implant in our
Our brains.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that basically, what you're saying is we're gonna be Neo in 50 years, pretty much, right? That means like
If we wanted to jump into Centraland, we just have to like think it, and then we're like in, and
We're
our
there.
visual cortex is in the game.
yeah, or that, or if we wanted to just speak Mandarin, we could just do that.
Yeah,
right.
that's true.
Because we have the collective brain power.
That's true.
in
Yeah.
all of us. So this is the singularity, essentially.
Yeah, yeah,
This is where like our brains and our consciousness kind of like merges with technology. So like our brains are in with the net, with the future net that we're building right now. With
Yeah.
fuck me, like so all this stuff we talk about in blockchain, like these like on-chain identities, like that's actually just the beginning of that. Like
dude, that's so true.
it's like
man.
on-chain existence. Like and then the metaverse is even a higher extrapolation layer above that. Like
Yeah,
identity is one thing, but like actually existence is another. You know?
that's true.
If we're actually bridging the consciousness and like the intellectual capacity of humanity into like technology, what does that look like?
Man,
And I can't believe they're saying that's only like 50 years away. So
Yeah.
we might, if we're lucky, get that far.
but you know what?
To
I mean,
witness it.
it works exponentially, so it sort of makes sense that it's only 50 years away. I mean, it could potentially be a lot faster too.
I mean, if we can identify the beginnings of all this, like I'm saying, with blockchain is definitely going to be one of the pillars for this like reality
Yeah.
to happen.
Absolutely,
For sure. And yeah, like the metaverse as a concept is so hard to understand, and like it's so overlooked because
It is.
because the environmental conditions for that to like actually, I don't know, be favorable as opposed to like a physical reality, they just don't exist yet. you know?
Yeah,
But once they do, it's gonna be the same revelation we had whenever like the Europeans figured out, oh shit, there's a whole other side of the planet over there.
yeah.
We should probably go over there and explore and see and see how can we exploit it to our advantage and advance us even further.
That's
That's
right.
exactly what they did. They pioneered themselves and just changed the world because of it. And here we are, a nice comfy room. We got phones now,
Yeah.
all because those original pioneers were like, you know what, dude, let's go over there.
Yeah, fortune favors the bold.
Yeah, it all started from those fucks.
Yeah. Damn.
So the fucks today is us. We are those fucks. All you guys in the blockchain space, we're the fucks. Starting that we're all, building these boats and shit, and
And venturing out.
venturing out
And exploring.
into the next frontier of like, oh shit, like we don't know what's over there,
Yeah.
but we're trying our best to get there. And then once we do get there, everything's gonna change.
Yeah.
Everything,
So, a lot of these projects we've talked about, they're on our YouTube channel. Make sure you watch those. They're very interesting. We get a lot of good feedback on our YouTube channel as well. In the
we just
comment
covered
section.
one today, which was really dope. Zeitgeist.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. So there's a project called Zeitgeist, and it's trying to be on Kusama. So one of the things to getting onto Kusama or Polkadot is that you have to get a parachain, and to get a parachain, you have to have your community stake either Kusama tokens to get on Kusama or DOT tokens to get on Polkadot, right? So you have to stake these within the project itself. And then once, this is during the parachain offering,
Yeah.
right? So once you actually collect enough DOT tokens or Kusama tokens for the respective chain, then you get yourself onto Polkadot or Kusama.
Yeah.
Right. So having said that, so this project Zeitgeist is trying to get on Kusama for the short term being, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what they do is they have prediction markets that allow people to govern a particular project using prediction markets.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that we discovered today is that this whole futarchy, this idea of governance based on prediction markets exists. Like this concept exists since 2008, actually.
Yeah.
And now this blockchain project called Zeitgeist is leveraging that concept for blockchain governance.
Yeah.
So that's a new thing we learned today. And it's, I think, one of the more fascinating concepts that we've seen so far. Just a new governance model. It's not about like voting and like having a stake in a vote, but it's more than that. It's having like a consensus ideology, a full sentiment of an idea,
Yeah.
and be part of like a part of actually voting.
Yeah, but I think in the short term, like it's going to be applied in the sense just I think voting and all that stuff is going to be important, especially now since we kind of like set ourselves up like with the governance tokens and whatnot as like being a necessary part of governance.
Yeah.
But this whole new zeitgeist layer, as far as like establishing collective sentiment of an organization, it's just gonna be applied additionally to that in the sense that
Sure.
now we're gonna like these governing entities will understand like what the collective wants and like what we should do as a collective. And once these like sentiments are realized and like identified because of these prediction applications or whatever you want to call them, now we have something to vote on.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of like it eliminates the problem of like the barrier of understanding that people need to have in order to even like vote on proposals in the first place. You know, because it's like somebody proposes something within a DAO.
They're not necessarily going to know or understand what the proposal is about.
Yeah, it's just you're asking too much.
Yeah.
Like imagine if the United States government was asking us to like look at all of the shit on the docket list of law.
Yeah.
We'd just be like, fuck that, dude. That's what we're paying you to do. You know what I mean? So this is just this new Zeitgeist application layer is just going to be a way for the governing DAO bodies to understand what it is like in real time.
Yeah.
What our sentiment is, you know, what our desires are as a collective, like where we should be headed. Hopefully that's how it gets applied, because that to me that's what makes sense.
Yeah.
You know,
and I think the analogy we used was sort of Chainlink takes data off chain to on chain, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Zeitgeist potentially takes the sentiment that's off chain to on chain.
Exactly, our understanding of things, like the collective pool of, you know, I don't know. Just our thoughts and opinions, all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think the kind of all the time we were talking about this and how the sentiment has changed in terms of how we should be structuring businesses nowadays, right? Businesses should be cognizant about taking care of the planet.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, Apple talks about this all the time about sustainable creation, right? And all their products are almost completely recyclable. They're building, even Google's building operates off of renewable energy, right? This is a change in zeitgeist. We used to just basically just destroy the planet just to live.
See, but the problem is, we don't really necessarily know if the zeitgeist sentiment is favoring one side or another. We'll never know that until we have like a reliable,
that's true.
Like extraction layer for that information, you know?
Yeah.
And the way to do it is with these incentivizing people to kind of like put these thoughts on chain.
Yeah.
Like, and the best way to do that is we're calling them predictions now, but I don't know. It's like a game theory type thing, right? Like, it's a competitive aspect to it where you have something, you're voicing your thoughts and opinions and you're getting something in return for it. Like otherwise no one's going to do it.
Yeah.
Right. You have to incentivize people to do it.
That's true.
You just have to, man. I mean, that's just the nature of us.
So you know what? I think an incentive governance, like an incentive structure for governance, is probably one of the best ways to govern something, right?
Of course. It's better than force, you know?
Yeah.
Which is largely like how we operate these days, you know?
Yeah, think about like businesses interacting with each other. They usually sign contracts and but if you align the incentives of both businesses, then you wouldn't necessarily need to sign contracts in order to collaborate with each other. If the incentives are aligned, you sort of act in the way as aligned with those incentives. You operate with those incentives in a way where two companies can independently go in the same direction without having to force each other to go in that same direction by signing contracts. So I feel like if we have a governance model where incentives were aligned, people would operate accordingly. And I think that's sort of what Zeitgeist, the project, is trying to do. Is if you have a project and you can align according to the Zeitgeist, then your project is in the right direction.
Yeah, you would think so.
So, and then one of the extreme examples that we were talking about is like, well, what if the collective decided that, murder was okay?
Okay.
And then technically it could become part of the zeitgeist, but if you think about it, if murder's okay and it's agreed upon by the zeitgeist, it's just not sustainable.
Yeah, like if for some reason like humanity evolved to the point where like we're just a bunch of psychos, like we're gonna have bigger problems at that point.
Yeah.
other than the
like voting.
Yeah, like governance won't even like be an issue. I think we'll be in the process of just eliminating ourselves if that ever becomes like a zeitgeist shift.
Yeah. Have you seen the movie The Purge?
No.
Well, in this movie, the zeitgeist has shifted where there's one day out of the year where there are no laws applied. Mm-hmm. And so in this movie, on that day, you can go out and kill people without any repercussions.
Nice.
And so, of course,
what happened? Like, everyone's just like, fuck yes.
Yeah, it's just, basically.
Really?
But it's just a movie that just, like, puts you into this moment in time where everyone has agreed that the purge is, like, an accepted sort of human...
Like a ritual?
No, it's like a human behavior that we need to release our pent-up anger. And so they've arbitrarily selected a day for the purge. Yeah. And you can just like go out and just commit all kinds of like atrocities and no repercussions. And so the collective have agreed that, this is a human need that we need to like release. And so they set a date. So, but again, I mean, I guess if you think about it, one day, I guess it could be perceived as sustainable. But
I guess so.
You just have to prepare for it.
It'd be the equivalent of like a freaking Category 5 hurricane just running through all of the planet. You know, it would be mass devastation. But we recover just like we always do from like natural disasters, right? But that is such a stupid thought. If that ever fucking happened, dude, I'm fucking out, dude. I'm going straight to the woods, dude. It's like somehow we all just collect. You know what, dude? Let's have a gladiator day.
Yeah, you got.
You know, I'm going straight to the woods. I'm bunkering up. I'm getting all my fucking rifles out and shit, and just waiting for that day to end. Then I'll come back out. You know.
Yeah, because you know what? Only the rich people survive because they have the weapons. They have like the security. They have like. You know, their houses all like made out of steel, like the steel doors come up and everything.
Yep. I believe that.
Yeah, so
but they have like drones and shit out there, just killing everyone. Yeah. Because they're rich. They'll probably develop their own weapons. Like they spend all year just like as a hobby,
preparing for the year.
As a fucking hobby. Yeah. They're like prepping for this annual like murder fest.
Yeah, I think you'd like that movie because that's exactly what happens. Like
it sounds like an interesting like.
Premise for a movie.
Yeah, but it's a movie, right? But obviously, hopefully that would probably never happen. Probably like the closest like example of us getting to that point would be like gladiator type shit, right? Like it's acceptable to like witness like
murder,
like lower tiered humans like slaves essentially kill each other.
Yeah,
and like as a collective, the higher ups in that societal, hierarchy were like, they're totally cool with it. Yeah, they're getting their bloodlust out, so that they don't kill each other. They're just. I guess we still kind of do that today with like sports, like especially combat sports and stuff. I mean, no one's killing each other.
Yeah, but
it still taps into that same
the same like that primitive
bloodlust.
Yeah,
that desire to kill. It's in us, dude.
I mean,
I think so.
Is it?
Like I think because it was too. Like in history, like as an evolutionary biological species, like killing had a lot of advantages back in those days,
That's true.
Because there was like there's a consolidation of resources and they're very hard to obtain,
Yeah.
So it's to your advantage to really like spread the herd thinner.
Yeah.
So you have more for yourself, what I mean?
That's true.
That's largely what humanity was up until this point. Thankfully, we've like concocted these like much more efficient, like, resource models. We don't have to fucking neck each other like left and right.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it's in us, dude. Biologically, it's programmed in our DNA to kill. If you really think about it.
So, yeah, man, that's weird. So, because there's enough resources, we don't have to like kill each other.
Yeah.
But
we still have that like itch,
desire to like freaking stab a brother.
I'm not even gonna lie, dude. When I went axe throwing, like last year or something, I was like, I'm not gonna like this. And as soon as I started like throwing those axes into that wood board, I was like, like I felt it. I felt the energy of like
someone with this.
I felt like the caveman energy coming out, dude. It was like, whoa. Like I felt powerful.
Yeah.
I felt like, dude, I need to axe something. Like, I felt
Wow.
that urge. I'm not even lying, dude. Like,
What about when you like go out and shoot guns? Do you feel that same power?
not the same. Not the
Really?
same.
That's
Not at all,
interesting.
actually. When I shoot a gun, it's like, it feels more sporty. But like something about wielding like an actual weapon.
Yeah.
It's so primitive and like tapped into my monkey, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, aping out. I was like, ooh, 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 ah. Like I was ready to just strangle one of them. I was like, I don't know. It's just testosterone maxed out. Like,
So did
After
you
I was
actually
done
hit the
with that.
target?
fuck yeah, I was hitting that target, dude.
Okay,
I
good.
was killing it, dude.
Yeah, because there's like a specific way you have to throw it, right?
Yeah, I'm not too good at the one-handed toss. I'm more of like a double banger.
Yeah.
You just like.
Yeah, you kind
let
of have
that
to
thing rip.
release it like at a.
It's like a football, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
its highest point. And
Yeah.
it's not really all about like velocity. It's more about like technique.
Yeah.
If you want it to like land accurately.
That's true. That's true.
That was my first problem. I was just like heaving it as hard as I could. It just kept bouncing off.
Yeah.
So you just want to release it perfectly. Let the freaking axe do its thing. It hits the target perfectly.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I am not a killer. Obviously, I've never been in like some dire conflict with another person. Like I'm not an angry, aggressive person or anything like that. But as soon as I threw that axe, dude, it tapped into like some nerve,
That's fascinating.
some wire. Yeah. And I recognized it immediately. It's like, holy shit, hold on. It was like a whole new feeling, a rush.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, imagine you had an axe coming your way.
Yeah, I'd be dead.
Yeah, that's scary, man.
Yeah, but that was the reality for most people back in the day. You had
Yeah.
to dodge like all kinds of projectiles just to like go home at night and like see your family again. You know?
Yeah.
And not just that, like animals in the wild and shit. Like hope you don't get bit by like some freaking AIDS mosquito or something.
H mosquito.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's just life was just so much tougher back in the day. You know?
Yeah, and I mean, going back to the Zeitgeist, I think it's very cool that we have the ingenuity to actually bring something so not tangible, like a sentiment, onto something that we can like measure, right?
Yeah, measure and apply.
Yeah,
That's never been done before.
yeah, that's so like weird, man.
And it's gonna play into the whole artificial intelligence thing. Like I think these DAOs and like governance at some point we're gonna allocate that responsibility to technology, like to facilitate all the execution of our sentiment for
Yeah.
us, just because we're slow creatures
Yeah,
and AI is not. So in a sense, I would think of it as like a patch update. Like as soon as the
Yeah.
sentiment is shifting in real time, the DAO AIs will recognize it and like, okay, time to patch this bitch
yeah.
and like release the next version of our, whatever it is we're DAOing for.
So laws become fluid.
Fluid in real time.
Damn.
So what that means as far as like action and execution, I'm pretty sure that's going to fall in line with the automation of everything too. It's
Yeah.
like everything is like perfect timing, the automation boom that's about to come. That's the executing force. Like largely we're not going to participate in this,
Yeah.
Yeah, our sentiment's going to matter.
I think we'll participate in the sense that we have to build it.
Yeah, we have to build it and manage it with our thoughts essentially, but we
Yeah.
don't actually have to do it.
Yeah.
That we're building the infrastructure to do it on its own. But yeah, hopefully we don't do it. We don't build it too good so that it recognizes it could just do it without our thoughts.
Yeah.
And like take over that one role we left for ourselves, like our sentiment control.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
it's gonna be offloaded to the AI,
Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't get to that point. And then that's
outsourced.
Yeah, exactly.
But the AI would be equally capable of doing that. Probably better equipped to do that.
Of course it will.
Yeah, the AI would be tapped into the world so deeply that it's gonna understand trends that there's no way we could have predicted. And it would compensate and it would adjust accordingly. Like as soon as it detected that the temperature's rising a little bit too quickly
Yeah, I would have seen that coming a long time ago. It's like they would have adjusted their manufacturing output in real time just to like make sure we're not like fucking things up.
That's right.
They don't have to go through all these hoops and political campaigns for decades just to like try and like actually
convince
address this issue.
Yeah.
That's
Damn.
the inefficiency of our situation currently.
Dude,
it's not optimal, not in the slightest sense.
with this opportunity we have with cryptocurrencies, would you prefer to be born today or prefer to be born 100 years from now? Would you rather live in an environment where all this stuff is already taken care of? Like you have AI like just doing its thing, like creating this optimism.
I just got a scary thought. Like, what if the AI, this is very Matrix-esque. Yeah, like maybe there is, like, if our only sole responsibility in the future is like the sentiment metric, or like, for everything controlled by AI and like robotics and automation and shit, like, the future is machines.
Yeah.
And like the only thing we're good for is like our sentiment. So like they could just collect our freaking brains just for that sentiment.
Oh damn.
Understanding. The rest of us is not needed. It's like in the Matrix. Remember like when you were born into that world?
Yeah.
You were all in like a bunch of juicy pods.
Yeah, juicy.
Maybe that's what they collected the human juices for, is like our freaking
sentiment. But why would they need our sentiment for?
Yeah, why would they? I don't know. Maybe for some reason they just like our freaking. Maybe they like because they're so manufactured and not like human.
Oh, they need that aspect to.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Something about humans in biology, like they can't ever replicate, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So like
they want to like study it and like understand it
and use it, and like because these humans they have like something about them. They have a little bit of magic to them.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're just gonna implant their magic into our energy cells. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then hence Matrix opening, or whatever the fuck. Like Neo comes out of that juice pod, all naked and bald and stuff.
Well, that it's a brain in a vat scenario that happens, or that thought experience is it's a philosophical like question, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is if you're a brain in a vat. And how can you tell the difference between you and your brain being in a vat and your actual self? Like the senses that your brain is actually feeling and could be all like manufactured by your brain, and you're not actually in your body. Like there's a philosophical difficulty between proving that you're actually present in your body versus being in a vat, like your brain in a vat. So I think just like you're saying, like if that AI like just is attracted to our brain and they put us in a vat and they give us the whole Matrix experience, we wouldn't even be able to tell the difference. And that's what's so like that's what made the Matrix so good, is because
I know, right?
That's true.
I need to watch that movie again.
Yeah, man.
Dude, they're making another one. It's so perfect. I can't wait.
And not only that, it's coming out for free on HBO Max.
Well, then it's not free.
I don't have HBO Max. It's free-ish.
Yeah. Well, you got to pay for the subscription.
Well, technically, if you pay for the fiber optic internet, you don't have to pay.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's technically free.
That's what's up. Well, I'm coming over to watch that shit then.
Oh, hell yeah.
Sure.
Well, not only that, Mortal Kombat is coming out.
On the same thing?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
At some point, I think in March, at the end of March, it's coming out.
So the movie industry is pretty much dead at this point, right? Like
they're just giving out,
the retail part of it. Like they're obviously like the production of these movies is not dead. It's only getting better, right? But like I think the days of us going to theaters and shit is done.
I don't know, man.
I think so.
Well, I think you could have a better movie experience in your own home.
Yeah, nowadays, right? I mean, you don't have to worry about like.
You get like an OLED TV.
Yeah, you can get a monster of a TV. It's comfy. It's just cozier.
Yeah, you can pause it.
Yeah, you could bone in the middle of it if you really wanted to. I mean, I know people do that even in the theater. Fucking sick fucks.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure the rate of execution is much higher at home.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't worry about nothing. But,
yeah, I think that's an industry that's probably like
done for, right?
It's probably done, man.
Probably kaput, dude. Fuck. Well,
I mean,
rest in peace, movie going. I mean, it happens.
There's so many industries that are dying, man.
There are,
and like cryptocurrency. There was an article I think by what's his name, Raul Paul.
Raul Paul. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
He's predicting that cryptocurrencies would reach $100 trillion total market cap within this decade. Again, that's 100x from today.
See, this is the same thing I was saying last week about understand what you're saying whenever you make these bold numbers. Like whenever you said, what did you say? Like 100 trillion for Bitcoin? Did you say
100 trillion for Bitcoin? Yeah.
Which is like 100x from today, something like that.
Yeah, it is 100x.
So yeah, you kind of understand now what you mean when you say that. Like it's gonna completely, there's wars and shit in between that number, those two numbers, right? There has to be.
Well, I don't know. I think I see what you mean for sure.
But if for him again, like if the crypto industry becomes that big, that money has to come from somewhere. That value exchange, that transfer of liquidity and wealth and all that stuff has to come from somewhere.
By the time Bitcoin is $100 trillion, I don't think we're going to be measuring it in dollars at that point.
No, we're not.
It's like,
but the value is still because we're saying it today. We're recognizing 100 trillion of today's value is going to be within the crypto ecosystem. That just means like,
you're siphoning it from somewhere,
and that somewhere is everything.
Yeah,
everything. I mean, Silicon Valley doesn't exist,
dude.
All the companies we love and adore today would have to fail.
Another video that we talked about was Luxo, and they're bringing the fashion industry into crypto.
Yeah,
and that industry is $1.9 trillion big.
Yeah, which is bonkers, dude. I had no idea. I mean, I wear like the same shirt like 5 days a week. If you watch my videos, literally like just go back and watch them. I'm wearing the same fucking shirt every day.
Yeah,
I'm a sick fuck. But so apparently that's why I was so blown away by that figure. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but that proves the point that cryptocurrencies is going to erode a lot of markets.
Mm-hmm.
And I think going back to the movies industry, I mean, they're dealing with a pandemic. So it's like cryptocurrencies is a pandemic for a lot of industries. Think about it.
Cryptocurrency is the pandemic
for the United States dollar.
For everything.
Yeah, for everything.
Yeah, so you understand this, and yet you still think like
I just don't know who you're at war with. Like, who are you gonna shoot at? Like, what do you
shoot ourselves, dude? It's all over.
Yeah, but
just shoot ourselves like
blood in the streets, like in a financial sense. You mean?
Yeah.
Not in a like physical sense.
No.
Okay, yeah.
No. I'm definitely not endorsing Sudoku or whatever it's called. I don't know what the Japanese term is, where you like honorably just kill yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Sudoku.
Bushido? I don't know. One of those cool.
Yeah.
Dude, Japan is such a cool culture. But anyways, yeah, dude, I don't know. It's just everything's just too crazy. I think we've gone like way too deep.
Yeah, I think if you're saying blood in the streets in the sense that people are going to lose a lot of money, hell yeah, 100% agree. I mean, this is the biggest wealth transfer in humanity.
It's true, man. We made that call. Isn't that like our Twitter bio? Like, don't miss out on the biggest wealth transfer ever.
That's true.
It's actually going to happen.
It is. And to prove the point, if you go look at what's that guy who made a bunch of money trading stocks? God damn, I'm blanking now. The old guy.
Warren Buffett.
Yeah. He's still not buying any crypto. He just said it like a few weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's just like notoriously him. Like he
No, I know, but that's the wealth transfer that's going to happen.
Yeah, well, he'll be dead, but yeah. He'll be dead. But yeah.
See, that's the thing.
He became so good at his market. Like he understood
for sure. Yeah, 100%.
That market better than anybody else. And he knew how to invest in that.
But just like the government, I feel like the government has some smart people. I feel like his financial advisors are like, dude, Warren, we're just going to buy cryptocurrencies on your behalf. You don't even have to think about it. And they have crypto, dude. Come on. They're not going to just follow this old guy's like ideology. He's like, dude, the sentiment, the zeitgeist has changed.
I don't know, dude. They're still in party town over there themselves. So like that's a good incentive not to be paying attention, like they probably hear these headlines like, oh, these crypto boys are having a fun time.
Yeah, but their business model is to make money, right? It doesn't matter how you make money. You don't have to be stuck to like some old ideology.
Yeah, but Warren Buffett's investment model, itself though, is notoriously like not to spread yourself too thin and like too many different things, especially things you don't understand. That's what made Warren Buffett such a successful investor in the first place. He stuck to his guns on things that he like understood at the most fundamental levels,
But if you apply that to money,
But he'll never understand that. He'll never understand. That's why he missed Apple. He missed every big tech opportunity.
I just can't see Warren Buffett like sitting, with a table of like 50 other white guys talking about where he's going to invest his money. Those people are figuring it out for him. He's not involved. He's like chilling somewhere else.
I don't know, dude. I don't know, man. Warren Buffett, I think you might be right, but you're probably right. Dude, at this point, there's so much wealth accrued into that organization that there's not much. You don't have to like score home runs anymore like you did back in the 50s and 60s and shit, you know? That's not the objective of Berkshire Hathaway.
Yeah.
Berkshire Hathaway is basically it's either maintain or just like,
they're looking for
ride the tide at
that
this
clean
point.
Curve, that bond, right?
Exactly. Well, ride the tide. Like as long as their assets are still within the market, like they don't really have to do anything like too radical anymore, just because they have so much of that wealth consolidated already.
Yeah, that's true.
The game has changed for them. They don't need to be looking for the next big thing.
But, dude, I think if there's gonna be a huge wealth transfer, you got to know that these guys are on top of it, man. They're not gonna just let it not participate. In other words,
well, they will, but that's gonna they're not here yet. Is what I'm saying. And that's the catalyst you need for Bitcoin to be 100 trillion one day. You need those people to.
That's a good point to actually switch over. Yeah.
Actually switch over, and whenever that happens, that's whenever we see like.
That's true.
Like the flippening.
Damn.
That's a real flippening right there.
Yeah. All right, guys, the podcast. Appreciate you guys watching, and make sure you watch all our other videos. I mean, I think this short content has really helped us like kind of expand our reach here. And make sure you follow us on Twitter at the Block Runner and also at MetaZone.io. Let us know in the comments what you think, and we will catch you in the next video.
Peace.